let's talk about right hand technique on Banjitar. One of the things I struggled with when I first started playing around with the Banjitar was how to get the best sound out of the instrument with my right hand technique. I had played guitar for many years, playing fingerstyle guitar, and the techniques that I had developed there really didn't suit the Banjitar that much. And the tone I was getting was kind of thin or too bassy or too noisy, and it was just something that just didn't suit the instrument well. And it took a while, probably about 6 months of playing, before I stumbled into some things that just seemed to work. And I tried a lot of different things, and nothing seemed to work really great at all times. But eventually I kind of settled into something where I felt pretty at home on. Nowadays I use just bare fingers on my right hand. But I have done gigs where I play with finger picks, and I've done gigs where I've done just with a thumb pick, and each has its kind of advantages and disadvantages, and we'll talk about that just a little bit. First off, on acoustic guitar, when you're playing fingerstyle guitar, I'm using thumb and 3 fingers. I don't use the pinky for anything. On a regular 5-string banjo, you're using thumb and 2 fingers, and if you're, and so those techniques just you can adapt however you want. I don't want to say there's a right way or a wrong way to do this, because you do what works for you. I'm just going to talk about the things that I felt like I had some success with to get it home on this thing. There was a website I ran into that's called classicbanjo.ning.com, and there's a hyphen between classic and banjo. So it's classic-banjo.ning.com. And that website covers a style of banjo that was popular around the turn of the 20th century. And it's a style of banjo you don't hear much anymore, but there's a few adherents to it that still kind of play it, and it varies from light classical favorites to songs that were popular at the time, that were like waltzes and dance music and things, some minstrel songs. But it was a very highly evolved thing that was very close to classical guitar or fingerstyle guitar. And so one of the things one of their instructors on there talked about doing to help kind of develop your right hand technique was basically you would plant your hand. I'm going to just plant my hand up on the 6th string, not where the thumbnail is going to hit the string, but the side of the thumb. The thumbnail just kind of reinforces the edge of the picking. Then the fingers, for 3 fingers, I think now his particular style they use 2 fingers, but on guitar we use 3 fingers, so I'm going to apply the guitar technique to the Banjitar. So let's say I'm going to put my index, middle, and pinky on strings 3, 2, and 1. And the pinky's going to just be out here to the side. So just to kind of show my hand position, it's kind of like this. Now, you can flatten your hand out, or you can kind of arch up. There's different reasons to do that. If you want to use the heel of your thumb for palm muting, you can drop down a little bit. But generally, I keep my hand kind of up in a high position. Now, on a classical guitar, which has got a much bigger body, your arm is turned around like this. On banjo, it just kind of rests on the armrest, and you just curve your wrist around. But you don't want to have this too acute of a bend in your wrist. You want to have a nice relaxed position. You're going to line up on the strings where basically you're pinching and pulling up. Now I'm exaggerating that, the pulling up, because your hand's going to stay pretty much in one kind of position. So when I first started doing that, I said, oh, this sounds pretty weak. And I tried, well, let me try some of my guitar techniques. So I tried things like thumb picks. Here's like on my guitar, I use a thumb pick that looks like this. This is like a Herco thumb pick that it's shaped like a guitar pick for like flat picking, and then has the part that curls around your thumb like that. And then I use on my fingers these Alaska picks. Alaska pick looks like this. It goes over the top of your finger rather than underneath your finger. And then this part here, the little groove there, your nail pokes through, your natural nail. And these feel pretty good, at least the pad of your finger exposed so you can feel the string. And you can kind of dig in like it's your natural nail. They're not bad, they're not too uncomfortable. and you can get a pretty decent sound with those. There, of course, the old faithful sort of national style finger picks where you put these in hot water and you mold them to your fingers. And then I also tried straight up zinc or their stainless steel banjo picks, and I really couldn't get on with these at all. Just the feel of these, I didn't get on with that. So in the end, most of the time when I play, I just use bare fingers. So when you're playing, where do I rest my neck? Now if you look at where I am, there's the center of the banjo body. I'm usually just a couple inches down from the end of the neck. Now I can move back a little bit if I want to get brighter. Or you can get way back here by the bridge for more of a, maybe accompanying an acoustic guitarist or an acoustic group. That may be a sound you'd want to get for a little more projection. But generally when I'm playing by myself, I just kind of like this, just a couple of inches from behind the neck here. It's kind of mellow, it's kind of bright, it's got a little bit of punch to it. It feels pretty good. One of the hints that they gave us on the Classic Banjo site was take your fingers, put them on, let's go like on the top 4 strings. And I'm just going to go on the 6th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd. Kind of squeeze a little bit, kind of bring your fingers down into it, and then scratch your fingers back and forth. You do this for a little bit. It's going to make kind of a little dent in your fingers on the end here. If you just get up here, you might be able to see the little dents in there. That little dent comes in pretty handy for pulling on the strings. You don't have to have long nails. Like on fingerstyle guitar, a lot of players wear pretty long nails, especially long thumbnail. Really not necessary. You do this little trick with rubbing your fingers onto the strings. It does kind of build a callus in the right place there, and it seems to work pretty good. Now I'll put a video, connect a little clip up here of me playing with picks. If you're playing with finger picks, thumb picks, I'm going to just throw them on here. Let's just talk about a right hand position for a second. Let me toss these on. Oh, there goes my dog barking. Both dogs are barking. When I use finger picks, I'm going to point the camera down here just a little bit. And one of the things that I find myself doing is because you need to kind of mute the volumes a little bit. And since I'm using 3 finger picks and a thumb pick, I don't like the technique where they use on banjo, where you're basically placing your finger, your pinkies or your last 2 fingers on the top to be able to finger pick. I don't pick that way on the guitar, and it was an unnatural way for me to pick because it isolates your hand. Your hand's stuck in one place. 5-string banjo, that seems to work just fine. However, on the 6-string banjo, I found it kind of got in the way. So what I did is I just adapted a technique from guitar, is I'll just palm mute. So I lay my hand lightly on top of the bridge and onto the head of the banjo, and I can control that over-ring. So I can control the over-ring with just the heel of my hand back here, just kind of rocking back and forth off the bridge. I'm not pushing down hard. It's just the weight of my hand touching the head that keeps that overring down. If I don't do that, it just kind of runs away if it's too loud, there's too many overtones. So this is a way of muting the top and then making it so that you can control those particular overtone series and get a more solid tone with the finger picks. The finger picks make your hands rise up a little bit off the string, so you kind of rotate your hand back and then reach out to the strings like this. So this is kind of the position compared to being up. I'm down like this with the finger picks. When do I play with the finger picks? If I'm playing with somebody where I have to use a microphone, that tends to give me a little more projection, helps the sound get to the mic amidst the stage noise and other stuff going on, and it makes it easier for the sound man to get me amplified. So that's just a couple of hints about getting a good sound out of your Banjo-tar with your right hand technique. Play around, you'll find stuff that works for you. There's some pretty unorthodox stuff out there because Banjo-tar is kind of, you know, I don't say it's a new thing because it's been around for almost 100 years, but in popular music, people using them nowadays approach them way differently. There's a lot of creativity out there, and you can find a lot of cool ideas. So those are just a couple of things that I have been using in order to get a good sound that I find pleasing. And then if you have suggestions or ideas, I'd appreciate it if you'd put them in the comments. Remember, like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you around. Bye.